that feeling. Oh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
And welcome to the show, everybody. Yes, welcome to the show. It is me, your boy Rico No Suave. I am super happy to be back with each and every one of you guys. Oh, wait. Hey, I got to tell you, everybody, how I'm excited just to see you all. And I don't see you, but you see me. Yes, we got a fun-filled packed show for you guys today. And I am super happy because the weather is finally kicking in. Yes, the weather is finally kicking in and I can burn calories and feel great. That's all I got to say. I feel great. And I hope you guys feeling great as well, too. If it's raining by you, hey, all I got to say is I'm sorry. Hey, the sunshine will come soon. Don't worry about it. But right now, continue to watch TV and say hello to me. Let's get it on. Everybody, you know, there's one thing that's been actually happening. This is kind of my story time. I wasn't prepared to be able to do this. I'm going to tell you why I wasn't prepared, because I wanted to make sure that I wanted to just show my opinion or share my opinion with you in regards to what's been happening in LA and also in Chicago and also around the states when it comes to the protest with ICE and also with a lot of the immigrants that's actually being deployed back to their countries. And now what they're doing is actually fighting back. Now, we know across the world that there is a lot of what we call wars, in regards to religion wars, but also there's wars in regards to humanity. In this case, there is an issue with, of course, families that's being deployed back to their country unexpectedly, but also it's just happening. So a lot of people, of course, is actually going against Trump and also, you know, saying, hey, why are you doing this? What is going on? We don't like this. So I saw a few pictures was very disturbing. Also some videos that was disturbing that I saw police officers on the expressway and I saw bikes being thrown at the police officers and I saw cans and rocks and everything that's being thrown. You know, I feel bad in regards to the police officers, of course, that actually is trying to protect and also to serve. Now, they have their own opinion in regards to who they voted for, or what do they think is right, but they're just there, of course, to be able to do their job. I'm not a big believer. I'm a believer in protesting in a positive way, but when it comes to damaging vehicles or damaging your city or damaging, other people's lives, that's in stake, I'm against that in most cases. I want everybody, of course, to be safe. I want everyone to be sound, but at the same time, too, our voices, of course, have to be heard. And sometimes our voices are heard in different ways. So I do pray for the people that's actually being deployed back to their countries, and also for families that's being split, and also that's been here for many years and has been working here to basically help America be great in most cases. And I do feel bad in regards to those families that's being split, that's been here for quite some time. I feel that also, of course, in regards to what our president is actually saying, what he's doing, and what we're not agreeing upon, and how we're taking actions in regards to things that he may be saying that is not right, right? And we know common sense is common sense, and we know where a president is not really saying anything that's going to make us happy, and we tend to, turn and say, how do we fight against this? So this is my opinion in regards to that. I don't believe in tearing up the city. I don't believe in hurting people, as far as police officers, even our own kind, our own humankind, of being able to get in front of. I heard something where there was a car that ran through, people here in Chicago. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy, and people are getting frustrated. They don't want that to happen. So the one thing I would say to all of you is that we pray for America. We pray for our people. We pray for safety, right? We pray for well-being, to try, at least if we're going to protest, try to protest and be able to have your voice being heard instead of damaging what we have to live through every day. That means that stores and, people, independent stores and things like that. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents in regards to that. My heart does go out to the immigrants, of course, people that actually are being deployed back. And, I just want to share my sentiment and my love as far as to that. On a brighter note as well, too, this is the month of Pride. We do have Pride Month, everybody, the LGBTQ plus, and I think it keeps going. What I have to say is, to all, I have friends that's actually in that community as well, too. And hey, nothing but love for you, as long as you're actually being safe and you're actually loving each other, and you're in your community. And we accept you here on the Rico No Suave show, that's for sure. And we love the community. You guys throw some heck of a parties, I tell you that, man. When you guys throw parades, it is off the hook. Everything is colorful, everything is bright, everything is just so happy. So keep doing what you're doing, keep the pride going, and we love you here on the Rico No Suave show. All right, let's get it on, everybody. I got to introduce this beautiful young lady. I tell you, I had a chance to be able to meet with her, and big shout out to Priscilla Leona for actually introducing me to her. She is an award-winning director. She is an award-winning producer. She is an award-winning actress, and now she is an author. Now, of course, behind the scenes, we talk a little bit, and she wrote some things back in, back at the time. But all of the accolades that we want to give her today is because of her working very hard in Hollywood and in the surrounding areas in California. I want you guys to put your hands together, show her some love. It's none other than my girl, Terrah Bennett Smith. Let's go. Terrah?
For myself.
How you doing, love?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me, Rico. Thank you, guys. Hello, everyone out there tuning in.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Hey, we here. We're here
yes,
now.
we are.
There's no going back.
Every day above ground.
Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Terrah, before we get started, you always like to, allow my guests to give some shout outs to anyone that's been in their corner, and, that's always showing them love. So do you have any shout outs that you want to give out to anyone?
Well, I'm a shout out to my friend who let me use his house today, Sherman Augustus, and he's
What's up,
probably
Sherman?
I didn't. But Sherman is going to be the father in the new Lantern movie series with Aaron Pierre. He's also right now in Stranger Things. But anyway, I'm at his
Nice.
place, so thank you because I needed a space to do this. I want to shout out to my fabulous children. I want to
All
shout out
right.
to my girl Carla Earl. My friend Josie's calling me right now. She was one of the fly girls. She's just popping on my phone. So
Let's
shout out to
go.
Josie. Everyone who supported me, especially with this book that's coming out, because y'all don't know. I was not a book writer. It took me, well, we're going to talk about that later. But
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
shout out for you for having me on the show, and Priscilla for
Thank you.
introducing her.
Let's
So,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Let's go. All right, let's get it on because everybody's waiting, and they're commenting already. So we'll talk about their comments later. But welcome everybody to the show. Let's get it on. Okay, now a New Yorker, as
I'm a
you
New
are,
Yorker.
a New Yorker
New
as you
York.
are.
But I don't say coffee and going to the car. My girlfriend Carla, that's how she talks. I'll call you back. I'm gonna call you
I'm gonna
back.
call you
Going
back.
to the car for some coffee.
I love it. I love it. Hey, let's get back. Let's get into, you being influenced by others, right? Because everything starts somewhere. And of course, the first thing we have as far as being an actress. But there's different categories of where the influence come from, where it comes from soap operas, TV series, and also for feature films and movies. Which one of these, what kind of like your first love that you actually say, oh, I want to become an actress because of this category or this TV series?
You know, to be honest, I was such a flip flopper.
Okay.
I went, the first thing I was doing stage, a lot of stage in New York, Broadway, and then, a lot of off Broadway, way far away from Broadway, nowhere near Broadway,
Yeah.
and then moving into Broadway. Stage was my thing. And after a while, I did so many musicals that I really wanted to transition into into television, because
Sure.
that's in your home every day. So
Yeah.
I would say, comedy wise, one of my favorite shows when I was watching was the Lucille Ball show. I love Lucy, and then Good Times. Everybody wanted to be
Oh
Thelma.
yeah,
All the
good
black girls
times.
wanted to be Thelma,
Yeah.
and so it was. I think though, influence wise, it was really kind of just my mom. She wasn't on
Okay.
television, but because it was important for her, growing up in the projects, it was important for her that we had something to do, that she kept us engaged and trying out new things.
Yeah.
uh, Everything I tried it kind of whet my palate, and I was like, "Ooh, this is fun." So I didn't lock in on one particular thing.
Sure.
I locked in on what I was doing at that moment. But I
Mm.
would say, as far as television and film would be, the comedy, how I love Lucy. Lucy Ball used to do her comedy,
Yes.
is phenomenal. And then
Yes.
Thelma, I was like, I wanted to be Thelma.
So it was basically like, yeah, a TV series that actually kind of got you going because it was always something different.
Yeah.
With like, I Love Lucy, there was always different types of what's going to happen next, especially Good Times. Good Times was kind of that, hey, you have those happy moments, you got those sad moments, but you got those real moments
Yes.
as well too about life. So did
And
you
it was
feel?
similar.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you good. You good. Love. You good.
I was
I'm
saying it was
excited too.
similar. They were in the projects. I was in the projects. So
Okay.
although it was different, it was relatable. It was very relatable. So
Yeah, I like that because I think that kind of hits home in regards to why you want to have a purpose as to be an actress, right, or an actor in the industry. When you start, when it hit you, what steps did you take next to actually start pursuing that career?
my mother, that, and I attribute it back, she kept us so busy, like I said. And one of the things, I started doing dance at 5. That
Okay.
and that was, my sister and I both, and then she just kept us involved with a lot of different performing art options. She had a little neighborhood troupe that she put together, and we would do shows. My sister also had a dance school that was part of our church. So I think it might have
Okay.
been about 30, 25 to 30 students. And because my mom was involved in the dance school when I was about 5, she used to make costumes. She would make all the costumes for my sister's concerts, things
Oh,
like that. So I
yeah.
was part of that. And then from there, it just kind of, I started singing. I don't know where that came from, to be honest. I have no clue where that came from. But you know, I don't know what, I couldn't even tell you. But I remember, auditioning for musicals,
Sure.
and then that kind of bloomed and blossomed. And but New York was mostly about theater. And when I did my first commercials, I did first 2 commercials I did in New York. I did a Levi's, no, yeah, Levi's jeans, and then a McDonald's for chicken McNuggets.
Let's
And Keisha,
go.
yeah, and Keisha Knight Pullum, she was maybe 2 years old. Then she was in the commercial with me, and
Okay.
it was introducing chicken McNuggets.
Oh man.
So then I really wanted to do more television. That was so much fun. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this I could do, and the
Yeah.
money was always pretty
That's
good.
good too. Yeah, that's good too. I like that. And
Yeah,
the cool thing about it is that starting at a young age and being able to see the cameras and also the directing as far as for commercials, of course, even though the commercial can be like 30 seconds or 45 seconds, it's just more of, the ambiance, right? The ambiance and being in there. When you started getting more into training, right? I would you say it was kind of like natural training for you by just getting auditioning, getting these positions or getting these jobs and then going from there? Or did you also take some formal training as well?
I did both. Yeah,
Okay.
I was in acting classes. I had a vocal coach, to sing properly. And yeah, I stayed in classes and I
That's
liked
awesome.
classes. I love studying and just, kind of, and most of the classes I took, I was down at a place called Henry Street Settlement
Okay.
that was kind of downtown New York, and they had this really beautiful facility where you would take your acting class. They had a couple of theaters in there. They had music classes and
Yeah.
dance classes. So I would go there to do my acting, and then also I performed in about 3 or 4 shows because if they were auditioning for a show, you got to audition. I mean, if they were getting ready to produce a show, you
Sure.
got to audition. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did both, and and I'm in a class on Sundays now just because you know
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
you look for different things as you grow in the industry. Like right now I work with a group of professionals, um, actors and writers who get together just to kind of keep the craft going, and writers bring in their pieces and they look for actors to do it. So I look for things that kind of service where I am at this moment. So yeah,
That
but
is
always in
cool.
class. I think that without a class you do
Yeah.
yourself a disservice, because the different roles, you got to be able to have those tools. So when you don't feel like it, or when you're tired, or when you don't really understand where to pull this character from, you have
Yeah.
some tools now to know how to do that. When you're just
Yes.
relying on gut, a lot of people I know, and that's not across the board, but a lot of people who have that really good great instincts, it's usually in one category. But when you
Mm,
toss them something heavy, they don't know where to pull from. They have no
yeah.
tools, they have no training. So yeah, I would say that.
I like
Get
that.
into a class. Yeah.
I like that. And one of the things that you kind of brought out that made me think is it's kind of like the writers and producers in that one room where you're actually talking about, hey, they need actors to be able to basically whatever they're writing to make it stand out or make it come out. So when it comes down to you being in a mix of that, how is it, how is the training like to be able to have different personalities for different type of films or TV series? How is that training like for you?
Well, I think that I studied with an actress. I don't know if Bia won an Oscar, but Bia Richards. She was played Sidney Poitier's mother, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So that's how long ago. But she was
Okay.
phenomenal. She worked a lot, and she did a thing called the Being Method. And
Okay.
it wasn't about, a lot of people go and they do Stanislavski and all this other stuff. I went to school and I did the being method, which means that just be the characters. And if the character is so far away from your truth, which I never really find that there's a character so far away, because maybe when you're first starting out, because life experiences,
Yeah.
you didn't have that many of them. But once you've had life experiences, I know immediately what it feels like to cry without having to, pull up old things. I remember where that fits in my body. I remember what being silly fits in my body. I
Yeah.
remember what being pissed off fits in my body, because after a while you've had so many experiences that I can just pull up the feeling. And so being is just being in the moment of whatever that character is doing. Not always
Wow.
so easy, because you tell somebody who doesn't act or who doesn't have training, and I've done it many times as a director,
Yeah.
hey, just be yourself. They don't even know how to be themselves. They be trying all kind of stuff. I said, that's not you, because they think they got to do
Yeah.
something. I said, no,
Right.
just be you. And they
Right.
doing all over the place and all big and broad. I'm like, oh my God. So it's and people think because they see actors who make it look very easy because
Yes.
they've trained, they
Yes.
think that it's easy, but it's not. You
No.
put in the work to make it look easy. So when other people say, "Oh, I want to act. I'm gonna be an actor," and next thing you know, they trying to jump in there, and then you look at the work, and it's like, okay. Now, and it's all subjective too, because somebody may like one person's work, and someone may not like that person's work. However, how's and ever, I think that having tools and you can switch from one kind of character to another kind of character to another kind of character. And mine was just being.
Yeah. I like that. I like that piece. Just being. I love
Just
that.
being.
Let's go. I like that. That's really I never thought, I mean, as many people I've interviewed and just understanding their ways of being able how to like I wouldn't say manipulate as far as their character or just being an actor and being able to play in certain roles. Like certain people I would say, hey, what would you like to be in? More drama, more suspense? Yeah, more drama, suspense, and comedy, right? Because I think it fits into their being as a person. But then there's others that can play so many different roles, man, and it's just naturally for them. I really, take my hat off to them because I know sometimes it can't be easy when you're actually trying to step out of the box of you being, yourself, right?
And it's not easy also because they once you do something well or they decide that's who you are, you're fighting to do other things. Because they've
Yeah.
decided that's how they see you, and that's really all you can do. So you almost have to find other ways to be creative to show who you are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Otherwise, they will keep you in a they pigeonhole you in something, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I seen where there was this one character. I always put him as a big gangbanger, right? And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, dude, like, are they gonna ever put you in something else that's different? And then I wind up seeing that, hey, he's actually, he's a police officer, and it just felt weird because we're so used to
Watching
seeing him as a
seeing him as
gangbanger.
that's the thing. They just stereotype you in a role, and you have to fight your way out of that. And sometimes I tell people, if you're having a hard time, then put something up yourself. Get a theater piece that's totally different. Something that people one man show or two man show. Something that when people come to see you, they see you in a whole different light. Oh, oh yeah, wow. So that's what
Yeah.
it does for you. So you almost have to do it yourself if they're not giving you the opportunity to do it.
Gotcha. I got a question that actually come in. Big shout out to my man John T for free. Everything is not for free, John T, but I know, hey, you always hook it up, my man. And this question is free. I would like to know what one piece of direction she thinks was best or best performed.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like
So what
something
piece
I've
of
seen?
direction in regards to maybe where you actually performed as far as what was like your best performance, maybe in theater or maybe in movie?
Okay, I remember this was in a Bill Duke's acting class. And I remember I don't remember the name of the monologue. And this was a class that Taraji P. Henson was in, Shamar Moore, Anthony Anderson. There was so many of us were in that class. This was his first boot camp. And I can't remember the name of the piece. But I knew that I had gotten so lost in the moment because when I was done, I remember Taraji threw something at me. She was like, she said, I don't want to say, she said the B word or something,
Uh-huh.
but in love, but out of love, it's like,
Yes.
girl. And I knew that at that moment, I was like, wow, I transformed someplace. And then when I came back, I remember saying, I wonder if I could ever do that again. It was almost like I
Yeah.
was gone. And
Wow.
although you have moments of that, that was a
Yes.
very different character for me. But
Yes.
something happened, and I remember feeling like, holy crap, where did I go? Because when I came back, I knew I had left and came back in my body, the body that I know. So yeah.
Interesting. Wow. That's deep. That's super deep because that part that you played in, you really wanted to play that part. And when you got into that part, it came to reality. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, yeah, and that I mean, although I do have other works that I really love, I did an episode of Bosch not long ago that I really liked that work, and I remember the lead character on that show said, "How do you do that? Like, how do you
Yeah.
get emotional?" I'm like, how do you keep pulling that up? And I was like, honey, you live long enough. You got enough to be emotional about. You don't even have to go look for nothing. You could just close your eyes and go, oh yeah, there's something else. Oh yeah, there's something else, because it's just life. Yeah, but
I love
yeah.
it. We do have Beatrice Davis says, "Hey Tara," she said, "Tell her I'm gonna call you later." I'm like, "Okay, Beatrice, we'll let her know you're gonna call her
Hey
later." Beatrice
Beatrice, call
Davis.
me later, Beatrice.
And thank you everybody for actually tuning in. Donna Marie Bird, real quick. Hello, Donna Marie Bird. She's actually says Tara has acting and acting training actually helped you with engaging with other people when you're not acting? Does it carry over to your personal life? That's a very good question. As an advantage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I work with a lot of young people as well, because that's one of my give backs. And one of the things, I always tell the parents, I said, look, acting is not about whether you're going to be an actor. Everybody won't end up in this industry. And, but what it does, it gets you in touch with you. It gets
Yes.
you in touch, and it empowers you in a way to be able to walk into interviews. And I
Yes.
always tell the kids, I said, it changes your ability to own self, and and to own a room and command a room. And it has definitely empowered me to be able to stand in front of a group of strangers and show elements of yourself, because even though we're acting, reading from a script, we are showing elements of ourselves.
Of course.
That is, not a lot of people can do that. And I've watched how it's transformed my life. I've watched how it's transformed a lot of the kids' lives, kids who were petrified of even speaking. I have one little girl who used to hide under the table, and then we were doing a show, and I gave her just a couple of lines, to enhance. And she said, "No, I want more now," because she was
Nice.
ready.
Building that
Totally different. So
confidence.
it does, absolutely. So if you are one of those people who are not comfortable, in
Yes.
room with people, take an acting class, take an improv class, take anything where you have to stand up and speak in front of others, because it does empower you.
I
And you
like
also
that.
have to there's so many things that you have to get in touch with self. It's also about self growth. You know what I mean? Because you cannot be a good actor and be stagnant in your own growth. You've got to be willing to grow in self so that you can bring other dimensions to a character. Otherwise, you're going to be playing the same thing for the rest of your life. So it's
Ooh.
really, really important to do your inner work, because you have to learn more about yourself. And you learn more about yourself sometimes by reading another character. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. That's hot. Hey, I really love the way you put that together, because also acting classes can also help with mental health awareness. And the
yes.
reason why I bring that into play is because there are people that are sheltered that may have talent that has not been exposed to people to be able to help them, right? And I think you hit it right. When you have somebody sheltered, you're actually helping to build confidence of them, but also showing them their inner, saying, bring it out. Tell us what you're really about, right? Show us what you really can do. And then for you, it's like almost like you're saving people's lives and acting, right? Because they didn't know where they were actually going in life, and they finally found out this is what they're about. And they say, man, thank you so much for actually helping me, introducing me, and also, just helping me find a path.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And and I always tell people, don't get involved with this business. Oh, I want to be a star, I want to be this. If that happens, it's wonderful, but there's so many people who, have wonderful careers. My
yes.
career has been, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of things I've done that most people will never touch. Will never, even actors who are on series, they can't even hold a candle to the amount of things I have done in this industry. And I remember, somebody asked me one time, she said, how does it feel to not have, kind of like, not become, not be a success? So, because success to her meant that, you're a household name. And so I sat for a moment because, that stung. I was like, what you mean? Didn't know how to say that.
Yeah.
But it stung, and then I had to think. I said, okay, get out of the head ego stuff. And I thought, and I said, let's see, okay. And I started doing. I said, okay, I was on Broadway. I was a recording artist on RCA. I got to tour. I've directed feature films. I've directed stage productions. I'm an LA Times critic pick show. I'm a mother of three. I've done Broadway. I've done theater. I had a talk show on Fox. I just went down the list, and then I looked at it and I said, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know if my makeup, who I am, would have done well with all the stuff you have to put up with when you are a household name.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's part of my makeup. I just like to do the work. And if the work is taking me over here, I do the work over here. If it's taking me over here, I do it over here. If I'm supposed to be a director, I flip the hat and go be a director. Because people
Right.
always ask me, which one you like best? I like the one I'm doing at the time the best.
Yeah, the reason why I laugh at that because we always work in the present, and we sometimes don't even look back at the past because we're like, listen, wherever I'm at right now, hey, beam me up, Scotty, I'm here. You know what I mean? So
Scotty, I'm here and trying to enjoy that moment. You know what I mean? 'Cause some
yes,
people didn't get to
yes.
wake up.
You know the one thing I will tell you though, Terrah Bennett Smith, is that you list off a lot of accomplishments, right? And when you say that I'm good, it's because when you reflect back to people along your journey, you've touched a lot of people in your journey because of the things that you directed, the things maybe you produced, maybe you have wrote, maybe you have acted in, where people are actually touched. Now, as far as people that comes up to you and say you did such a great job and things like that, and of course you move on to the next piece itself. How has all of those different things that you have done, how has that kept you humble in the inside?
Humble. Uh, let me just start by saying this. Don't get me wrong. I like my applause too.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all can applaud for me anytime. Y'all can say, what a great job. I will eat it up and thank you very much and keep it moving. But I think I don't really, I think part of it is that I keep switching hats so much, you know?
Yeah.
And then being a mother, being a parent. A
Yes.
parent will really ground you because,
Yes.
it's important to give your offspring something that's special that helps them to grow. And you don't have time to be all in your egoism self when you're working with others and empowering others. I don't I don't know if I have a total answer for that. I just think part of it is because I also know that this business is very fleeting. You can be happening one week and the next week you try to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
And that's very common. And that's, even at the top of the top,
Sure.
there, moments when things are not happening for anyone. So I would say that it's just really about trying to remember that every day is a gift.
Yes.
Every day is not promised.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I have a quote that I say, I woke up this morning, everything else is profit. So what is my profit for today? And that reminds me that, yeah, you got to do Broadway. You're not on Broadway today. You was a recording artist and got to meet Don Cornelius and toured and all that, but that's not who you are today. Who are you today? Who are you today? I might just be watching TV in my bed, watching Friends on the TV screen. So
Right.
humble is just, I just try to live in the moment. And I don't know if I have a total answer for that because I don't really think about it. I just kind of do the day and do what's in front of me and try to
Yes.
make that thing enjoyable.
I think, and the reason why I bring that up is because, and we'll get to this commercial break, but the reason why I bring that up because you have had so many accomplishments, and you love what you do, right? And then you did bring in the beautiful kids in there, which actually keeps you grounded, right? And I think that also keeps you humble as well too. And I think it's a blessing and it's a gift. In order to be able to do a lot of what you're doing, but also being able to raise three beautiful children as well, right? And I think that keeps you grounded, and it keeps you knowing that, hey, my talents are kind of natural when you know what you're doing, right? So I think that's where the humble piece comes into play itself. So Congratulations on that. Yeah. Let's
Applauding. I'm
let's
applauding you
go.
too, baby.
Let's go. Everybody, we got you already know. We have the award winning. She is an actress, director, producer, and author. My girl Terrah Bennett Smith is here with us, everybody. Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break, everybody. We'll be back less than a minute. Stay back. We'll be back. Here we go.
Are you looking for a fun new way to find interesting stories? Well, look no further. Welcome to No Strings Attached e-News. From lifestyle articles to news in the entertainment world, we are the premier e-news site to find informative articles on a variety of popular subjects. As our online magazine is always expanding, we know there's an article here for you on No Strings Attached e-News. Find out what's buzzing at nsaen.com.
Bring it back. Let's go.
Bring
We
it
back.
back.
We back. We back. Hey, we back. Of course. Hey, Terrah Bennett Smith, are you having a good time?
I'm partying.
Let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, I'm ready to party too.
Yeah, I say all that, and all I can think about is, so when I'm done, I get to go back and lay down in my bed, and what am I going to watch tonight? I am a partier in my mind. I do 2 dances, now I want to go back home. So pathetic. How pathetic.
Oh, okay. All right. We know where you gonna be at if you come out for a little bit. We're like, where Terrah go? Oh, she gone.
I dancing and no, because if I sit down once I go out, because I like to dance, I'll dance all night.
Let's
And
go.
I don't want nobody to dance with me because then you slow up my vibe. But people try to come and dance with you and try to just
Yeah.
get back dancing. And
Let me get some
then
air.
if I sit down, then I fall asleep. So I got to keep dancing till it's time to
Oh
go. It's hard.
no.
It's like
Oh
highs and
no.
lows. That's it. But
All right, let's keep this party going, man. I'm having a great time, man. And you know, time is not all on our side sometimes, and it just happens that way. So let's go to the next thing. Now, of course, I want to really talk about, you understanding the film industry, but I think we kind of got a gist of you actually understanding from how to when looking at the cameras, looking at the behind the scenes, looking how the chaos is when it comes to actually directing a film or actually a TV series. Real quick, summarize real quick for me. How did you gather all of that, knowing that you knew exactly what steps to take as a producer and also as a director in the film industry?
ooh, wow, that's interesting. How did I gather? Well, one of the things is understanding that when you've done it long enough, you kind of take in what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
You learn a little bit about, okay, I'm watching the director, I'm watching the, producer. I also think that producing, it's a business. And when
Mm,
you learn how to run a business, you kind of just got to learn the different little specialties that go into each particular business. So I understood the arts because that's all I've ever done.
yep.
And but I did have to learn the difference, shot lists and all of that. I went to school for that briefly because I'm not a school person. I did go to like a film intensive because I was
Okay.
getting ready to shoot the first film and I'd never done a film before. And I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So I went and took a film intensive and I realized, no, you know what you're doing. You just got to trust yourself, and then you start doing. And I think the best way to do that for me was because I was doing independent projects. And independent projects, you could take some leeway with, you could try out new things.
Sure.
When you're on a studio and they're paying the big bucks, they most likely won't even hire you because they want someone more seasoned. But uh, you want to it's a little more micromanaging. When you're independent, they're just happy to have somebody, and if you know what you're doing enough, you can get away with it. So I think it's just studying, and knowing the
Yeah.
different mediums. Theater was my background. Theater was my life. I know theater. I know how to produce a play with my eyes closed. Television, I ended up doing something similar to that recently, so I got a chance. But I did so much television that I knew a little bit about it.
I see.
Um, so I think it's just kind of knowing your medium and studying. And I don't think people. I think people think the entertainment industry is something you could just jump in and just do it, no matter what side. I want to direct. I want to this. But if you don't understand how to direct your actors, because I know someone recently, not recent, but about half a year ago, was doing something behind the scenes and decided he wanted to direct. But he didn't know how to work with an actor. He just watched all the shots that he wanted. He said, "Oh, I want a sliding shot. Oh, I want this kind of shot." But he didn't really understand how to get the actors to act and to work. He just was calling out all these shots. That's not just it. You also
Yeah.
have these people. And directing actors is not about just directing traffic. Move over
Right.
here, go over here. So why would my character move over there? Like, how does this tie into the story? You know, how's this shot? Should I get over the shoulder? Should I come in on to make it more intensified? So those are things you learn by doing it or taking classes and then getting out there and trying it. So I had a combination of both.
Nice.
A lot of on the job learning, but what
Yeah.
I didn't know, I went to school and I figured out how to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to, and we, definitely I always tell, good people like yourselves that are always going to be a part two of this, of what we do here as far as on the Rico No Suave show, because I definitely will have you back because there's more to talk about.
There's so much
And,
more to talk about, Seth.
huh?
I said there's more to talk about. That's one of my very bad accents that I don't even know why I do it. I'm sorry, people. I have
They're
this
like,
thing where I
huh?
think I have accents. I have none, zilch. But go ahead.
No, you're good. Since that New Yorker is in you, as a native New Yorker, when we talk about the film industry, because I know you kind of touched on this when it comes to Broadway, we know Broadway is definitely New York. When it comes to the film industry, how can you compare the two between, or if you just let us know, what is the difference between how the film industry is versus in California?
You talk about New York versus California.
Yeah.
Um, it's not much different. I think there was a time when, back in the day, where there was more, especially television. There was very little television work in New York. New York was the
Okay.
place to go to do your theater. So that's one of the reasons why I moved out to California because I wanted to get away from theater.
Oh,
But now, it's no difference. It's just, can you afford to shoot in New York? That's the
yeah.
question.
I
And
see.
nowadays, can you afford to shoot in LA?
Yeah.
Because people are trying to find other places to go so they can shoot their, get tax incentives and all of that.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think, as far as how the films go, there's really no difference. It's just where your story's being told and what your budget can afford, and all the things that go with that. Yeah,
I like
there's
that.
not really a difference.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I like that. So that means there's hope for everyone between New
It's
York and also California.
You know what? There's hope for anyone who has a doggone phone nowadays. Back in the day, you had film. Nowadays, you got a phone. There's several movies who, I think there was a movie recently that was nominated or won an Oscar and was shot on the phone. So if you really want to be a filmmaker, there's really no excuse why you can't. You just got to learn and have discipline and follow through. And because it's digital now, yeah, you could put it out, you can edit it yourself, put it out. There's so many ways to get your first project done. A lot of
That
work,
is
but there's
crazy.
still ways to do it.
That is crazy. Like you talk about the you talk about the phone piece. I've just talked to somebody in regards to that and how the phone is like that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like on a phone and they came out with a movie. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you can definitely tell digital has came up to a different level.
Yep,
So
very different now. Very, very different. Yeah.
let's talk about real quick because time's on our side before we take another commercial break. And everybody, thank you guys so much for actually tuning in and showing some love for none other than my girl, Terrah Bennett Smith, and the one thing that I do want to talk about is Inyani Corp and the projects that you have coming up for 2025 and 2026. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'd love to talk a lot about it, but I can't.
Okay.
But what I will tell you is that in Yanni, we're a global company. My partner Michael and Samantha. Michael's in Germany. He's working out there. Samantha is in Florida. Mervyn is in the UK. So we
Okay.
have basically global. We're at a lot of different places, and we do projects that more high-end projects, but they're really historical, but
Okay.
very historical commercial pieces. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So we'll
Sure.
take something, some history that people don't know about and make it a very commercial piece. So we're really
Interesting.
excited about a new TV project that we have that's getting a lot of little buzz right now with
Okay.
the actors aboard, and
Okay.
then we have a sequel. Well, of three movies. They kind of go back to back to back. Anyway, and that should be pretty much underway. Hopefully, the first feature towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. That's all I can say.
Okay. No.
But it's a great company. Michael and was a big film music promoter back in the day. So he was the one that brought a lot of the hip hop rappers out to Brazil, Germany, brought them in, made them international. So his
Wow.
background is in that world. The guy who's on trial right now was part of it. All of the ones that are hot, he was very instrumental in that world. So yeah.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
he's moved over into the film world. So it's an aggregate. It's not like we're a new company because we are four partners, five partners, and we've all have been kind of doing it in our own, way for the last several years. So, yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah, really excited about the company.
Hey, I know there's only certain things you could talk about. I know
Yeah,
there's only certain
yeah,
things that you can actually say. But I figure we at least, put the audience on the edge of their seats when it comes to what's coming up next. But I like the historical pieces
yeah.
because
There's so
that
many of
that
us.
that education.
Yeah, so many of our stories I didn't know about, and he's such a history buff, that I'm like, wow. Yeah, so yeah,
Let's go.
excited. Real
Let's
excited.
go. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break once again because we know time is not on our side. Everybody, my girl Terrah Bennett Smith is here with us. Everybody, hey, we'll be back less than 30 seconds. Let's go.
Every year, 800,000 children are reported missing. That's one child every 40 seconds. It's every parent's worst nightmare. Right now, there are 483 missing children cases still open. Your card donation can help keep kids safe and bring missing kids home. Donate your unwanted card today. Fast, free pickup, 24-hour response. Plus, you'll get the maximum tax deduction.
Call 800-723-2013.
Feeling sluggish? Struggling with stubborn weight and visceral fat? It's time to reset with Fupa Water. Packed with powerhouse ingredients like spirulina, turmeric, and aloe vera, Fupa Water is your daily detox and hydration boost all in one. Flush out toxins, energize your body, and say goodbye to that stubborn belly fat. Ready to feel lighter and stronger? Get yours today at fupawater.com. And for a limited time, use code RNSS for the Rico No Suave show and get an additional 10% off on your first order.
And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's none other than me and my girl Terrah. Did I startle you?
No, 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 no. Somebody was, my phone just be texting and people and all
I
that
know.
stuff.
All right. All right. Cool. All right. So we got to talk about it. It's all about the vocals. Sometimes it's all about the vocals. And we talk about singing. We talk a little bit about singing. And I just want to, get a little tidbit, a little history, since we talk about history in the making. Let's talk about singing, because you was a singer once, right? And there was a group called Altitude.
Altitude.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
talk about you singing. So how did you get into that group with Altitude? How did that all come apart?
Well, when I first moved out here, I wanted to, because I launched a label when I was about 19, and because I wanted to sing, and I was like, okay, nobody's gonna give me no record deal. I'm gonna launch my own label. So I launched a label with my partner at the time. I always had me a little business. Got to keep your businesses going, people. Anyway, so when I that song did didn't do anything, but I got to tour. I got to go to Europe. That was my first time to London and Amsterdam performing. And then I was like, oh, that was a lot of fun. So when I moved out to LA, that was in New York. When I moved out to LA, I saw something in an ad saying they were looking for girls to form this group. And I was just getting ready to go back to New York for something. And they held I said, I want to audition, can I audition when I come back? And I got in. And that was just it. And then
Nice.
it took us about a year and a half before we got signed to RCA.
Okay.
We got signed to, like people had their subsidiaries, and I think it was called Bahia, but Bahia was an RCA label, a record, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And yeah, that was it. But it was pretty cool.
Nice.
There was a lot of things I realized that I learned a lot about myself at that moment, because I realized, ooh, I don't know if the music industry is for me. Because these people want you to look like, what you look like when they see you on the albums and in the videos. And I'm
Yeah.
not that person. I am a hoodie and sweatpants and roll around. And I'll never forget a funny story. We were coming from somewhere. I don't know where it was. And, we're a new group, so they don't invest in you the same way. You kind of, not till you kind of get hotter and hotter and hotter. So we were coming from somewhere, and we flew all night. We got to the hotel in the morning, and we had to go do an album. Yes, we were doing albums. We had to go do
Nice.
an album signing in a record store. So I remember our manager's like, you guys, you got to just come on down. You don't have time to get dressed. We got to be at the record store and blah, blah, blah. So we get in the limo. We pull up to the record store, but we looked like we rolled out of bed, because we did. We didn't have no time to put on no outfit, no makeup. So we get out the limo, and some girl, little Southern girl, she be in the South somewhere. She's looking at each of us as we walk out the limousine, and I was the last one. And she looked me up and down. She goes, them ain't no stars. Where they hair? Where their makeup? I thought that was so funny. I remember just cracking up going, we look like her next door neighbors. This is not
Yeah.
exciting to her. And nobody wants to see their next door neighbors when they came to see, stars.
Right.
So we went into the store, and then, they were playing our music video and all that. And so I was standing again, I'm standing at the front doing something, and the video's on the screen, and she's looking up and looking down at me and looking up. And she goes, okay, so dim as stars. Okay, dim as stars. I said, ooh, you gonna have a hard time, because the way you be walking around town looking like a homeless person most of the time, they're gonna be writing up about you. Poor Terrah is homeless again. She's walking down the street. Yeah, so but I had some of the highlights, like was telling you earlier, performing
Yeah.
on Soul Train, meeting Don Cornelius. He flirted with me on Soul Train too.
Let's
Yeah, you
go.
can see that. Yeah, that was pretty funny, because Don was
Peace
known
and
as
love.
that person who's kind of stoic.
Yeah.
So tell us about your new song. But with me, he was like, well, yeah, I want to play some drums with you later on. It was so funny. And the audience was like, ooh. So that was cool, Party Machine, touring, being on big stages. But I also didn't like, and I knew it wasn't for me, because I got tired of not going home to my bed.
Yeah.
I said, this is not going to work for me. I don't mind performing,
Yeah.
but I want to go home after a little bit. I don't want to keep going. That
Yeah.
don't work for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've
Hey,
written-
congratulations on that. At least you got Don Cornelius to flirt
yeah,
with you.
and I wrote a couple of songs that I became an ASCAP writer,
Okay.
and wrote a couple of the songs. The one song that came out, the first song that was top 40 on Billboard. I co-wrote that. So yeah,
Got it. Got it. Hey, so I have to say that the singing career can be something else. That's all I got to say.
Different business.
It can definitely be something else. Let's get down to the last one, because I want to present everyone your book. So if we could put up the book that's coming out soon, if we could show everybody in the audience, that'd be nice. Being bigger, badder, bolder, and better. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but
you don't
hopefully
have to read
everyone
that. Buy the
can.
book.
Yeah, so I definitely want you to at least give us a synopsis of your book itself, and what are you expecting for people to get out of it?
Well, the book I started writing in 2012, and it only finished now because I finally decided to finish it.
Sure.
And I think there was a little bit of nervousness about stepping into that arena because that's totally new for me.
Yep.
And the title was initially called Rewrite Your Life Script. And then being bigger, better, bolder, and better became a mantra of mine because of, having your own little imposter syndromes. Am I good enough? Am I this enough? Am I that enough? Should I stand out? Should I do this? I've always wanted to try this, but I'm afraid. So what in the book it talks about, it takes people on my journey, but not in the way that this is my life. It's the way that how the blueprint that I was given, because we're all given a blueprint. We're all given a blueprint from our family.
Yep.
Whether you realize it or not, your parents gave you their blueprint. Whatever they were dealing with, or good, bad, or indifferent, became your blueprint. And then we run with that blueprint the rest of our lives. We're not even realizing that, hey, I could rewrite or change this blueprint because it feels like it's just our norm. So
Yes.
when I started to look at how my blueprint was affecting my growth and my journey, and how I was manifesting certain things just based on beliefs, I had to sit down with myself and say, do you want your life to continue to be like this or not? And how do you change that? So I started doing these workshops called Rewrite Your Life Script. Because I did it for myself. And I
Sure.
was watching how, as I was rewriting this life that I wanted, my life was manifesting and turning into what I needed. And people would just magically disappear that I no longer wanted. And people that I wanted would come in. So it takes you on the journey of how I show you how kind of my growing up and my upbringing manifested into something. And then what I had to do to recognize what that was. Okay, so now I understand this came from that. Because you'll talk to somebody and say, yeah, I keep getting in abusive relationships, where there's a belief system in there somewhere that you keep attracting a certain behavior.
Yeah.
So, and I was that. So I had to, at first acknowledge that in myself. Then, okay, how do we fix this? So once I acknowledged it, I had to do, certain things to deprogram that, and to how do you do that? So I did that. And then now how to keep that going, and now writing that script of a life that I wanted. So that's what it is. And now standing in my truth to be bigger, better, bolder, and better than anything I imagined ever. It's not about being, I'm the best thing in the world. No, it's about being bigger, better, bolder, and better for you.
Yes.
You as a person. How do I be better? How do I be
Yes.
better? Then I'm not bad in the bad sense, Michael Jackson bad.
Right.
Better and bolder. How do I stand up for myself? How do I all of that? And
Right.
and this book for me is that, because I was petrified, and I'm still a little nervous about it because it's just something new and it's different and it's a little frightening. But I'm standing in my truth, and I'm going to be bigger, better, bolder, and better. Because if you write a book called Bigger, Better, Bolder, Better, you can't be afraid to put it out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Try
So
to say
that's
that 3 times fast. I couldn't
oh,
do it.
bigger,
But
better,
hey,
bolder, better.
hey, I love it, man. Hey, congratulations. And I know this is being released. I'll let you say it. When is it being
On
released?
June 29th, my birthday.
Let's go.
So very excited. You can pick it up, and it's on Amazon and all those things. I saw it on whatever that um, whatever that bookstore is. Yeah, I'm so bad at this. I have a
There's like
girlfriend.
Barnes and Nobles. I know
Barnes and
Barnes and
Noble. Thank you.
Nobles. Yep.
Somebody sent me that it's there, but it's not released till the 29th.
Okay.
And make sure you get a copy and support me, or get a copy. It's a workbook, so it takes you through some things that you can work on. And
Interactive.
I offer a lot of workshops, so make sure you follow me so you can see when I'm doing a workshop or a workshop near you. I do them online. So if you're stuck, let's get unstuck. Let's live that life. Tomorrow's not promised. Do it
That's right.
today.
Let's
or you wake
go.
up dead.
Let's go. Let's go, man. Hey, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you're giving my audience, and I think that's really positive, and I love that positive feedback in regards to that. And I hope everybody please get that book, because it's coming out June 29th, right? So that is actually on a Sunday, right? That's
Yes, it
actually a
is.
Sunday. So
So
make
you can
sure,
start
and you
your
got
week.
time.
You can start your week, off good.
Just that easy.
Good for
I,
yourself.
Sorry, we
I
have
wanna-
one question. We do have
Go
one
ahead.
question that is coming in. And thanks to our producers for putting that back up. We appreciate that. She says, "Hi everyone, Terrah. How do you deal with personalities of cast castmates working on different sets. Now,
Castmates as a director or cast? Well, I'll
yes,
give you as a
as a
director.
director. Yeah.
As a director, I think I'm a firm believer that the fish stinks from the head. And I mean that, the top person sets the tone for your set. There's always going to be somebody, not always, because my sets are usually really nice because when I come in, there's hugs and support, and people will show up again for you when you set the tone of a loving, atmosphere that people want to be a part of.
Yeah.
So I usually set a really loving tone
Okay.
and understanding for people that this is something that they're doing, this is not all they do, and
Yeah.
sometimes life sets in, so I try to be understanding of that as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
just appreciative that they've decided to spend this time with me. They chose me to spend this time with, and I've chosen them, and I think for the most part you end up having people who want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
And
that.
sometimes when there's clash, I always have people sit down and have a conversation. If two cast members are having a hard time, most people are afraid to open up and be honest. I'm not.
Yep.
Let's sit down and talk about it, because once we talk about it, we can get some clarity, and then we can put this thing to bed. So instead of you roll over here rolling your eyes and I ain't talking to this person, let's put it out, because misinterpretations happen all the time.
I love it.
And then if there's someone who really doesn't click, then they have to go. They don't fit in the
Right.
energy that I'm trying to build. Then I usually find a way to exit them out.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I mean, it's definitely like, you can't fit to everybody's regime, right? And sometimes you just can't fit in that that area, just not yet, right? And you might have some things that you might have to work on to be able to fit into certain roles with certain people. But what does fit? This shirt. This is for you. Yes, yes. This is what fits. This
Yes,
fits you, right? This fits
Yes.
you. So this shirt right here, and you kind of talked about this, and the reason why I give this shirt to people like yourself, because you're a gem of the world, GEM of the world. And the reason why I give out this shirt, Terrah Bennett Smith, is because all of the
love how you
accolades
say
that
my
I know
name.
that you, huh?
I love how you said my name, Terrah Bennett Smith.
Let's go. Let's go. And the one thing that I love about what you've done is you started off and you did kind of have that blueprint in regards to, and big shout outs to moms, big shout out to the family as far as that helped you starting off at an early age, but also helped you understand what the film industry was, not just being on stage itself in musicals, but also understanding how you grasped and understood how the film industry was. And then things just start happening to you naturally, like you were being yourself and you were just doing things. And I think the reason, and it goes back to me talking about the humbleness that you actually have, you were humble, not even thinking about it. And I think because you were just so putting on different hats and you knew exactly what you needed to do, people were drawn to you in regards to what your good work is. And that's why you continue to be successful at where you're at. So,
thank you.
this shirt here means a lot to me, giving this to you. And it's because of now you're helping the youth, right? You're
Yes.
helping and giving back to the community of the blueprint of what you've learned, what you've done, and what people need to look out for in their future as well too. So welcome to the Rico No Suave Show
Well,
family.
thank you. When I get my shirt. Thank you, Rico, too, for having me. This is lovely, and I applaud
Yes.
you. Anyone who's following through with their dream, I say go for it.
Yes.
And congratulations on all your success with your show.
Thank
and
you.
anytime you want to do it again, we can do it again.
You know we will.
We're gonna do a cooking one too, where we just sit and cook and eat and talk some stuff.
Hey, my producers are happy about that, right?
Yes,
And we can
yes,
definitely
yes.
do that. They like to eat too, right? So we definitely can make that happen. But we got to get out of here. We got to put up your social media real quick, love,
Yes.
so everybody can be
Guys,
able to
follow
see
me,
the
please,
social
and
media. Yeah.
say
So the first
hello.
one is at Terrah Bennett Smith. You already know, Instagram. So make sure you go and follow her. Hey, when the book comes out, make sure you DM her and say, hey, we need to find out. We need to get close to that book. I need that book, right? And then here's the next one. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Sneak.
Yeah,
What's that?
You just really have to type in my name; it'll pop up.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
yeah,
Because you're
yeah,
Terrah
so-
Bennett
Because
Smith.
I'm Terrah Bennett Smith.
Let's go. Right. And put the @ sign on that link there. You know what I mean? So
Right.
make sure you
There
put the
you
@
go.
sign there. You can do that as well, too. So make sure you please go ahead and Follow her, add her on a business level. LinkedIn is not for spamming, right? You ain't trying to be friends, right? Make sure you go there as far as if you have a business proposal or if you want to learn more, just make sure you go to LinkedIn. And last but not least, we got this one. You already know. It is Terrah
Terrah.
B. Smith,
But if you type in Terrah Bennett Smith, you'll find me.
like always.
Like always. And
Like
Rico,
always.
this has been a ball. Thank you so much. Thank you to your producers. And thank you to Priscilla again for making it
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
And let me know when you're coming back out this way, okay?
I'll be out there shortly. You already know. Terrah Bennett Smith, I will see you soon. Everybody put your hands together. I'll see you later, love. Let's go. Yeah. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself on the show today. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us as far as throughout the show today, because we had such a great time, and hope you guys enjoyed yourself too. We got to put up our social media before we get out of here as well too, everybody. Make sure you already know. Make sure you go ahead and go to Rico No Suave Show on Facebook. Yes, make sure you like and love everything that we're actually doing on Facebook. Here's the next one. Yeah, it is our website. Yeah, we do have one because we love it, right? www.riconosuaveshow.com. Here's the next one. Kaboom. Yes, we love Instagram. So make sure you please go to Instagram, everybody. Go ahead and like and love everything we're doing there. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, which everybody should be subscribing to our channel because we bring you great guests and great content every single week. All right, last but not least, we got Mixcloud, everybody. Mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show goes into a podcast, right? It goes into that audio. So make sure you please go ahead and show your love there. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here, but thank you guys so much. And we'll see you again as we end off the show just like this.